Welcome back, everyone, here to Bronx Talks. Today, we're going to be talking about the New York Yankees and if they were set up to fail at the start of the season. Obviously, the Yankees season has not gone as the Yankees expected, it's not gone as the fans have expected. But there was definitely some problems going into the season that a lot of analysts and a lot of fans were calling out the Yankees and saying, hey, there's definitely problems here that need to be addressed. Obviously, though, I don't think anyone would think it would get this bad to the point where the Yankees aren't much involved in the playoff picture as September just started here. But Christian, what are your overall thoughts on the Yankees going into the 2023 season?
I do think it's more complicated than just saying the team wasn't good from the start because the team was basically the 2022 team, which was a 99 win team that got better, right? So I do think just blatantly saying that they weren't set up for success isn't true. However, I do think it is fair to call out some holes that they had, right? They went into the season without a left fielder. And yeah, was I interested in seeing Oswaldo Cabrera? I guess, but I don't know if I would have rolled him out, especially since there was, we did a video in the offseason. There had to have been 10 options that could have played left field. Although, look, Ryan, it wasn't just left field. So much other stuff had to happen for this Yankees team to be where they at, for them to be where they are at right now, right? Judge got injured, and he's a really, really, really big piece and part of their team. So I don't think it's that simple. However, I will say this: I thought the Yankees needed more offense, and I don't know if that was just me being a greedy Yankee fan, but from what I saw in the August Yankees last year, and really what we've seen in the playoffs, in my mind, the offense just wasn't good enough. But keep in mind, I mean, we're fans, like we're always gonna say it could get better. Um, but yeah, I do think the offense could have been a little better, and I think they were kind of that was at least set up for failure.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you. I said in that video that we made that I wasn't really a huge fan of having Oswaldo Cabrera take over in left field and kind of platooning him with Hicks. It just didn't seem like a good fit, especially with Cabrera's versatility. He could play a bunch of different positions, and Hicks was awful from the start, and Cabrera has not really gotten it going at all this year. And some people were, a little critical about them signing Rodon, saying they should have spent that money elsewhere and got some offense. And I don't have a problem with the Yankees at all going out there and signing Carlos Rodon. I mean, he was really, really good pitcher. Obviously, he's been injured this year for a big chunk of the season, hasn't been the guy we had hoped. We'll see how next year it goes. But I don't blame the Yankees at all for wanting that 1-2 punch, especially in the playoffs. But they definitely did need to add offense. Brian Cashman said it last year in, I think, the season-ending press conference, saying the Yankees, we needed more left-handed bats, we needed contact hitters, and then they went out, and that's why they got Andrew Benintendi. They went out, got a left-handed contact hitter and a left fielder. And in the offseason, they kind of just ignored that. So Brian Cashman said, we needed Benintendi, we needed some more contact lefty guys, to get us over the hump, right? I mean, that was the trade they felt they needed to benefit their team, and go all the way. But then they just didn't pay any attention to it in the offseason. They kind of just disregarded it. And they said they signed Rodon, and Hal Steinberg came out and said, we're not done yet. And they were done. They just didn't go out there and they didn't upgrade the offense. And it just, the offense has been really, really bad this year. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And I feel like this year, especially, like all the problems the Yankees have had, I'd say like the last 5 or 6 years, even when the Yankees had really good teams, I feel like this year it finally bit them in the butt. Like all the problems we were saying as fans, I feel like it just finally got to them. And it just hasn't been a great season for the Yankees. And it's very disappointing.
Yeah, I also think they kind of put too much trust into guys that they shouldn't have, right? I was all for Anthony Volpe being the shortstop. Even if I knew the season he was going to have, still would have rolled him out there. But you got to know he's going to be a rookie. He's probably going to struggle. You're walking in with Josh Donaldson as your third baseman. I could have told you at the beginning of the season. I did tell you he was going to have a terrible year. I mean, he was bad in 2022. Nothing was changing for 37-year-old Josh Donaldson, right? And then, you pile that on with left field. And then also the fact that they don't really count the catcher as like a hitting position. They kind of just say, all right, we'll take our out, once through the lineup and we'll sacrifice that so that our pitchers are comfortable. Well, when you look at that right there already, that's 4 spots in the lineup that aren't doing anything, right? So then when you walk into the season like that, then pile that on with some injuries, they didn't really have that much depth. It kind of just unravels, and I think that was really the Yankees' problem, right? Like, yeah, if we did this season over again, I think there's a chance it could have gone differently. And if some guys didn't get hurt, if some guys didn't underperform, there's a shot they're a playoff team. But I don't think they set themselves up for success. And I do think that their lineup just had too many holes, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had problems going into the season. I don't think anyone expected it would be this bad. I mean, I knew the Yankees had problems. I knew they had a left field problem. But no one expected it to be this bad. No one expected them to be a last place team. I mean, they went out, they added Rodon, and that team in 2022, 99 wins, first in the American League East, one of the toughest divisions in baseball. And it's just been really bad. There's no other way to put it. I mean, if Judge had stayed healthy, if Rizzo didn't have the terrible second half that he did, and not really second half, really after the first 2 months of the season, and some guys stepped up, it might have been different. But just a lot of underperforming players this year on top of the injuries. They weren't filling positions, and it just didn't work out. And it's going to be very interesting to see what they do in 2024. And I think Michael Kay said it perfectly, that the Yankees going into the season took a lot of risks. They were betting on Donaldson. They were betting on Hicks. And, maybe stop betting and maybe actually make the smart move. All right. It is what it is. But we'll see how 2024 goes. And, obviously this year was disappointing, but there's no other way to put it. It is what it is.